千里之行，始于足下. A journey of 1,000 miles begins beneath the feet. We now gather in the Tao to travel the journey together. So we do this at the end of every exploration of every chapter of the Tao Te Ching. This is something that occurred to me would be a good idea halfway through the previous run on the Tao Te Ching from chapter 1 to chapter 81. So halfway through it, I began doing this, and it's been pretty well received. So this is the reason why we're going right back to the first half of the Tao Te Ching so that we can fill them all out with paraphrase. So for 19, here's what we have. Chapter 19 starts out with ideas about putting an end to sagacity, knowledge, this false front of being intellectual. Now, there are many examples that we can find out there where people can twist and distort ideas while pretending to be intellectually oriented, when in fact, it's very much a kind of intellectual dishonesty. So this is what Lao Tzu was speaking against. And here's how I would like to paraphrase his words. If we stop listening to those who claim to have all the answers and those who pretend to be wise, we will benefit greatly with more truth and clarity in our lives. Then, in the next two lines, the same concept, the same overall perspective is being applied to benevolence and righteousness. That is, just as people can be falsely intellectual, falsely intelligent and wise, it is also true that some can be falsely moral or righteous. And this is oftentimes done as a way to control others, to guilt people into following certain rules. And more often than not, the people who set up those rules, they themselves may not follow those rules, feeling that they are above the rules that apply to everyone else. And therefore, that becomes a negative thing. So here's the way that I would paraphrase what Lao Tzu had said. If we disregard those who claim to be kind and preach with righteous wrath, we can go back to being good without the threat of punishment or damnation. So next, we have Lao Tzu expressing how intelligence can be used for negative ends, to steal, to rob, to trick people out of what belongs to them. So here's the way that I would paraphrase his words. Lastly, if we let go of all the clever tricks and schemes to satisfy excessive greed, we would no longer have people turning to crime to get what they want. And now we're at the last part of 19. This is the concluding part where Lao Tzu talks about these three things, the false wisdom, the false morality, etc., and then talks about how they are insufficient. And therefore, from the Tao perspective, we need to counter them, counter the falsehoods, the false nature of the pretense with the Tao, with the genuine Tao. And the genuine Tao means plainness and simplicity. So here's how I would attempt to conclude this chapter in paraphrase form. These three, pretentious wisdom, forced virtues, and wealth from greed, give the appearance of goodness without substance. That is why we follow the Tao to focus on substance rather than appearance. We live with plainness and simplicity, think of others instead of ourselves, and reduce desires. This creates a satisfying and fulfilling life. Our meeting has come to an end, but the journey continues on. Let us travel safely. Until next time, may the Tao fill you with peace and happiness.